JT's room. Okay, okay. Now listen. See, there was this king, and he had 3 daughters. See, so he told all the princes of the land that if you wanted my daughters, that you. Give me a minute. Can't you see I'm talking?
No. I need to talk to you right now about my royalties and how you keep your books.
My office hours are from 9 to 5.
Fuck your office hours. I need to talk to you right now, motherfucker.
Now, if you have any other problems with your royalties, my books, my office hours are from. My office hours are from.
Tonight, our very special guest is Mr. Hawthorne James. Many of you might remember Hawthorne as Mr. Big Red in the now classic Robert Thompson film, The Five Heartbeats. He also played One-Eyed Sam and I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, and Sam the bus driver in Speed, and a whole host of other films, some of which he might want to talk about this evening, but I'm sure the focal point for tonight's discussion is some of his works. It's his directorial debut in a film called The Stick-Up Kids. Mr. Hawthorne James, good evening. How you doing this evening?
I'm wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Just got in from all of this cold and rain and wind here in cold, windy Houston, Texas, and that's not usually the case here. So it's kind of drying out and warming up. But I think it's going to get even warmer here in the studio. How things going in sunny L.A.?
It's very good in our 70, 80 degree weather out here.
Shame. Say no more. You know, now that's the way the temperature should be in Houston. I don't know where this cold weather is coming from in March, no less.
Yeah, it's wonderful here. Besides a little rain here and there, you know, we can always use a little rain, but, you know, other than that, it's been mighty toasty. I ain't missed that snow in Chicago at all, brother.
Right. Now, that serves as a nice segue, I guess, to kind of give us a little background information on you. So you're from Chicago?
Yep, born and raised, man.
Born and raised, wow.
South side of Chicago.
Wow, South Side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people may not know that you actually have an extensive formal background in terms of formal training, not only an undergraduate degree at Notre Dame, I believe, right?
Yep. That's
but you also have a master's from, is it the University of Michigan?
Master's from the University of Michigan, and then I went to London and studied at the London Shakespeare Academy. So.
Wow.
Yeah, taught in the university for a couple of years before I came to L.A., but you know, that's one of those things that people don't understand. This is a lot of work.
Right,
a lot of training. I didn't just all of a sudden pop up out of nowhere and say this is what I was going to do. No, I've been doing this a long time.
So how long have you been in the business?
I've been making my living. I left my last 9-to-5 job in 1986.
Wow.
And when The Color Purple came out, that was my first union movie.
Wow.
So after that movie came out, I left the job and haven't looked back since.
So we're talking about close to 25 years that you've been a professional
yep.
in the industry. No. When did you first know? When did you first realize, hey man, this acting thing, I think I can do this for a living?
Well, see, I don't know when I decided I could do this for a living. I think I decided once I finished teaching, because I taught at Illinois State University for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
And I knew I didn't want to teach.
Right.
That was way too political for me, being in the theater department. But
right.
I remember being on stage when I was 5 years old.
Right.
And being a kid, number 4 out of 8 kids, you have to find something to put the spotlight on you. And then when I hit that stage, I remember those eyes on me.
Right.
And I was pretty much hooked.
Right.
Then, I did a play here and a play there through 8th grade and all that stuff. And then when I went to high school, I did, a play in Chicago, a priest named Barry Snyder. And Barry Snyder taught myself and, I can't think of the guy's name, but he passed away last year.
Oh, wow.
He was on the Cowboy Western. But anyway, this guy and I did our first movie together. But we went to the same high school in Chicago, and we did the plays for the priest, Father Barry Snyder. And he took us on tour. So we went through Minnesota and Wisconsin and all these other places.
This was a tour with which production?
Of a high school play. We were doing Hamlet at that time.
It was a high school production you went on tour with. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it opened my eyes because we got to stay. I'm kids from Southside Chicago. I very rarely saw white people.
Okay.
And then when we went on tour, we stayed at white people's houses. So as a kid, you thinking, beans and cornbread is normal.
Right.
Man, I got to know folks' houses, they was eating steaks and chicken. It just totally opened my eyes and said, wait a minute. Whoa. Wait a minute. People live like that? And then the straw that put me, in the camel's back was I went to high school. I moved out of Chicago my last 2 years, moved to Michigan, got on stage and did a play in high school. And right before I went out on stage, girl kissed me. I went out on stage and promptly forgot all my lines. But I was hooked in, boy. I get kissed by going on stage. I'm done. This is it, buddy. But I never, it's funny, I never let a girl kiss me before I went on stage for a long time. That became a big superstition of mine.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So now The Color Purple was your first professional SAG gig. When did you get your first job where it's like, hey, I'm kind of like the star of this one?
Well, that came much later than that, because I've done, little roles here and there, etc. And then, of course, the biggest break that I got was 5 Heartbeats.
Right.
And that's phenomenal. I mean, until this day, you thought that film came out yesterday.
Exactly. I talk to people all the time, and I can't tell you how many people, Hawthorne, who if you were to ask them to list, say, their top 2 or 3 movies of all time, invariably, the name of that movie comes up. What was so magical? Because I get the feeling that the cast was at least relatively close. What was so magical about that particular project?
I really don't know. I can only speak for myself. It's fascinating to me that people have picked on that Big Red character and made it into something I never even thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't even on my mind. But when I watched that film, for me, what it is, it's these 5 black men who stay together through thick and thin. They break up. They have their problem, etc., like we all do.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, at the end of that last scene of that movie always gets to me. Those 5 black men put their hands back together. Yeah. They've come through all kinds of negative things. They become positive, and on top of that, their women stayed with them. Yeah. Eddie Kane's girlfriend stayed with him through all that nonsense.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of that film for me.